Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Very rainy Tuesday here in Trinidad, well, in Sangre Grande, at least. I'm not sure about the rest of the country. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, it is too soon to determine whether the installation of a new U.S. military radar system at the A&R Robinson Airport will play a significant role in the upcoming Tobago House of Assembly elections. Political analyst Dr. Shane Mohammed said that without an announced election date, it is premature to assess whether the radar situation will influence the campaign. I don't even understand why it's an issue in the first place. It's all about securing our country and borders, people. My response, it isn't too soon to determine that the PNM3 crew should be investigated by the Commissioner of Police for treason. Listen, people, freedom of the press shouldn't give anyone the right to demand a government to disclose confidential or sensitive national security information to the public. Do they realize? I wonder if they realize, all those members of the PNM3 media, and that's not just CNC3, people. That's all mainstream media in Trinidad and Tobago. Minus TDT right now because they are state-owned. But do they realize that criminals, terrorists, and autocratic leaders like Maduro can use that information, that sensitive information, that confidential information, to plan an attack or even an invasion? PNM and the minions and their minions are literal traitors and should be imprisoned for these serious crimes. You are free to criticize the government, I have nothing against that. You are free. I do criticize them as well at times. But you don't have the right to incite violence or reveal sensitive national security information, people, to the public. That is where I draw the line and I say, a lot of the media houses and the journalists are committing treason at this point. No more overheating phones. Cool your phones in seconds. Prevents damage to phones and battery issues. Better gaming experience and streaming. USB powered and fast charging. Lightweight and quiet. Ideal for kids and adults. Works with all smartphones. Makes a great gift. Call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. A Gasparillo man was trapped on his arm while sleeping on their shed along Semper Street, Gasparillo, on November 30th. The 55-year-old man told police he was awakened around 3:30 a.m. by several sharp blows to his left arm. You can imagine. Wait, boy, it's pain and traumatizing as well. The startled man ran to his brother's nearby home. Officers of the Gasparillo police station responded and contacted emergency health services. The man was taken to the San Fernando General Hospital, where doctors said he was in stable condition. I hope he fully recovers in Jesus' name, and I hope the perpetrator is apprehended and spends a significant time in prison. That is a violent crime. Should spend at least 10 to 20 years in prison. We need to make the penalties harsher, When people end up only spending 5 years or 2 years in prison for committing these type of dangerous crimes that could have led to death, it makes them feel as though, what, I could come back out and do it again because all I have to do is just spend another 3 years in prison. 10 years plus 20 years, in my opinion. Premium touchscreen wireless headsets restocked. 1.9-inch HD full-color touchscreen. ANC and ENC noise reduction for crystal clear calls. 9D panoramic sound. Long battery life and fast charging. Control music, videos, TikTok, YouTube, and much more. Camera feature, voice assistant, timer, stopwatch, and lyrics on screen. Water resistant, sleek design. Available in gold, black, blue, and purple. Gift-ready packaging with replacement earbuds included. Never lose your earbuds again with the Find Headphones feature that actually works. Don't miss out. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order. Limited stock available. The relatives of 16-year-old Tanisha Jerome are pleading for the public's help in locating the missing Cunupia teen. Tanisha, a Form 3 student of Cunupia High Secondary School, was last seen around 7:45 a.m. on Friday. Wow, quite Friday, at her Fernando Lane, Esmeralda Road, Cunupia home before she left for school. The schoolgirl is of mixed descent, slim built, about 5 feet 5 inches tall, dark brown in complexion, and has long black hair. She was last seen wearing a long jeans, a black short-sleeved shirt, t-shirt, and brown slippers. I hope that she returns home safely in Jesus' name. We don't know if she left willingly or if she was taken by someone. That's why we need to continue to pray for her safe return. A lot of the times, people, it's due to certain type of circumstances at home that these young individuals attempt to leave. Do not judge. You do not know what is taking place at home. And at this point in time, besides that, we also don't know if she was taken by force. So let us continue to pray. Hopefully by this time today, we might have even better news. By tonight, I don't know, that she has returned to her family safely in Jesus' name. Tired of losing your keys, phone, or coins in that annoying gap between your car seat and the console? We've got the perfect solution. Our universal car seat gap fillers are back in stock, ready to save your stuff and make your ride clutter-free. Available in black, brown, beige, and red, they're designed to fit any car seat and blend perfectly with your interior. Simply WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and enjoy delivery straight to your door in just 1 to 3 days. The authority to grant firearm users licenses, FULs, must remain with the Commissioner of Police, as any attempt to shift the statutory responsibility could create chaos, inefficiencies, and added bureaucracy. This was the warning from Commissioner Alistair Guevara, responding to Guardian Media following renewed calls to alter the current licensing framework after the Home Invasion, Self-Defense and Defense of Property Bill 2025 was passed in the lower house last week. My response, I don't agree with him at all. I said the Commissioner of Police could afford to show this kind of concern about the issue because he already has his license to bear arms along with a lot of his colleagues. The rest of the law-abiding citizens have to hope. You know what they had to hope for? That their magical broomstick or pot spoon or blade will be effective against armed criminals. This man has done nothing significant thus far to reform the corrupt TTPS. When it pertains to crime fighting, probably, yes, I will give him credit when credit is due, especially what he has done during the SOE. But he's the one continues to ask for it to be prolonged, and I don't agree with that either. But let me get back to my commentary there. We need to move on. This man has done nothing significant thus far to reform the corrupt TTPS and is quickly proving to be no different to any of his predecessors. I hope the Prime Minister realizes that if she really and truly desires to ensure that law-abiding citizens, we the people, are able to acquire these weapons without the present ridiculous and extreme requirements, there will be need for significant legislation and even probably constitutional reform. As I've been saying for months now, probably even years, and someone even made that statement recently, I think it was yesterday online, all you should really need is a good certificate of character, people. Probably along with a couple recommendations from, significant members of society or even family members or whatsoever in order to be able to acquire a firearm. As long as you do not have a criminal record here in Trinidad and Tobago, you should be able to have the rights to bear arms. You won't be disappointed with this one. Look and feel great every day. Painless trimming with no pulling of hair guaranteed. Comfortable to hold and lightweight. Intelligent anti-pinch system. Safety travel lock. accurate and painless trimming. Durability, 100% quality. Fast charging. To place an order, call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. Regional news now, and we're starting off with Guyana. Minister within the office of the Prime Minister, Kwame McCoy, has reiterated the government's commitment to restoring and revitalizing Georgetown will not be derailed by the political opposition and the obstructive tactics, just like PNM here in Trinidad and Tobago. That's why I keep telling people PNC in Guyana, now WIN along with them, they are obstructionists, just like the PNM. That is their little baby brother, PNM's baby brother in Guyana. Or probably, I don't know, twin brother, probably close to the same age. I believe it's baby brother though. There's a clear indication that obstructionists, because like PNM is the leader of this madness in the whole Caribbean. Anyhow, there's a clear indication that the obstructionists have emerged at a time when the government has intensified the much needed and long-awaited rescue and revival plan for our cherished capital city, McCoy said, addressing concerns about political interference. He pointed out to past obstructionist tactics from the opposition, noting that it is their card of choice, just like here in Trinidad and Tobago, but emphasized that the government is prepared to proceed. Financial analyst Joel Bagwandin has issued an unreserved defense of the government's delivery of direct cash transfers and overall social support to Guyanese, the citizens of Guyana. He argued that the People's Progressive Party Civic has for more than a decade maintained a robust and institutionalized set of social relief programs that long predate the country's oil wealth. But of course, the country's oil wealth definitely assisted in boosting the economy and setting them on the pathway to first world status. I'm adding on that. The statement comes as a sharp rebuttal to recent criticism from the We Invest nationhood WIN party leader and United States sanctioned businessman Azruddin Mohammed, whom Bagwandin accused of launching one of the lowest political attacks against President Dr. Irfan Ali about cash grants. I'm telling you, WIN has replaced basically PNC at this point in time. PNC has totally fallen apart. But this is just a branch of the PNC nevertheless, and therefore still an ally of the PNM. In his commentary, Bagwandin rejected the WIN, the WIN leaders' attempt to draw parallels between Guyana and oil-rich Middle Eastern states that provide direct cash transfer to citizens. According to him, the businessman's selective use of foreign examples reveals a deeper contradiction. Doesn't that sound to you just like Penny and Rowley and all of them here in Trinidad and Tobago? Gonzalez? Certainly does to me. The Guyana Police Force Traffic Department recorded 3,089 traffic offenses during the period 23rd to 29th November 2025. 23rd to 29th, that's just a few days. As authorities continue heightened enforcement and public education efforts aimed at reducing carnage on the country's roads. These terrible accidents, many times fatal. According to the weekly enforcement summary, speeding remained the leading offense, with 748 drivers cited. I'm telling you, the need for speed culture continues to be a significant issue that plagues our respective countries, whether it's Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Jamaica, throughout the Caribbean, and even the first world nations like America. And this is why I continue to advocate for speed limiters being placed in all vehicles to ensure that no one can be able to exceed the speed limit. What people fail to realize is speeding will always be the main contributing factor to fatal accidents. Firstly, when you're speeding and you lose control of your vehicle is extremely difficult to regain control without crashing. And also, speeding also makes it easier for you to lose control to begin with. And most of all, if you do crash because of speed, the impact is going to be far more significant than if you were driving at a lower speed, even below the speed limit. Yet, up to today, up to this morning, you're hearing vehicles in minor roadways, like in the back by where I'm living, speeding. And you know for sure that the speed they are going at is most likely about 60 kilometers per hour or even more. And you're talking about on a minor roadway. So you just imagine the kind of speed that they're driving at when they're on like the Eastern Main Road in Sangre Grande. They drive as though they're on a highway, 100 kilometers per hour at times if the road is clear. It's really ridiculous what is taking place. News from Jamaica now. A legal squabble is brewing over the 120 million the Supreme Court ordered the government to pay George Williams, the mentally disabled man who languished in prison for nearly 50 years for his entire working life, awaiting a trial. Now, if he committed a crime, he needed to do the time, but you're supposed to have a trial within a short space of time. The multi-million-dollar award, $78.6 million for compensatory damages and $42 million for vindicatory damages. That means he was vindicated also of his crime. Was made by Justice Sonia Wint Blair on June 26th at the conclusion of a lawsuit filed by Pamela Green on behalf of Williams, her 79-year-old uncle. 5 months later, Wint Blair has still not signed the final order authorizing the payout, Green told the Gleaner on Sunday. Further, the AGC has filed an application in the Supreme Court asking Wint Blair to compel Green to put measures in place to account for how the multi-million-dollar payout is to be used, among other things. Green and her uncle, Aldwin Jones, who also helps to care for Williams, believe the delay by Wint Blair in signing the order and the actions of the government are disrespectful. She thinks that when she signed the order, we are the ones who are going to pocket the money. It's a form of disrespect, she said, making reference to the judge. Now, at the end of the day, it should not take so long. But I do agree that measures should be put in place to ensure that the money is spent on this so-called victim, this individual, this elderly individual, and it's not going to be spent by the family members in any significant amount. Of course, he might probably give them a certain amount of the money, but it's actually for him. And you cannot really blame the judge for questioning whether it is going to be the family members that will be spending or saving this money while still neglecting this elderly man. So probably some sort of social worker should be visiting every few weeks or months or whatsoever to ensure that this man is properly taken care of. International news now. The American envoy Barak conveyed a message during his meeting in Iraq, warning of an imminent Israeli operation against Hezbollah in Lebanon. The Hezbollah is a terrorist organization, a radical jihadist terrorist organization in Lebanon. Barak warned Iraqi officials that Israel would launch a severe strike if the militias there, Hezbollah-affiliated units in Iraq, intervene on Hezbollah's behalf. In other words, he's telling them plainly, stay out. Do not intervene on behalf of their allies in Lebanon. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recently spoke with U.S. President Donald Trump. Both leaders emphasized during their conversation the importance and commitment to disarming Hamas. It's not just disarming, in my opinion, they need to relocate them, get them out of Gaza completely from its position, and disarming the Gaza Strip, and discussed expanding peace agreements. The only peace will be achieved if it is that Gaza remains under the control of Israel, and these terrorists, Hamas, are removed completely from that territory. Trump needs to wake up. Now for the interesting facts segment. Portugal approved a national labor reform that restricts employers from contacting workers outside their official work schedules. The law applies to calls, texts, emails, and all work-related communication sent after paid hours. Leave people alone after they go home to their families or go out to Lime, man. Stop calling people back out to work. It was introduced by the Portuguese Parliament as part of a wider effort to update labor rules for remote and hybrid work arrangements. Companies are required to respect employee rest time. I fully agree with this. It should be implemented in all countries around the world, including here in Trinidad and Tobago. Companies are required to respect employee rest time, and repeated violations can lead to administrative penalties. The measure also includes additional worker protections, such as reimbursement for increased home office expenses and requirements for employers to provide clear written expectations for remote work conditions. The reform was passed to ensure that employees in Portugal have defined boundaries between their personal time, within the updated labor framework. Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.